Good morning. It's 8 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I guess the first thing we'll do is do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Could we have the roll call, please?
Lorraine Benefield,
Here.
Neil Brennan,
Here.
Ken Jones,
Here.
Elaine Clyde,
Here.
April McLaughlin,
Here.
Phyllis Peters,
Here.
Edith Ramlow. She said she was coming.
Okay.
Shavonna Reed, she was excused, and Carol Spring.
Here.
We have quorum, ma'am.
Thank you. We have a quorum. The next is the reading and the approval of the minutes from the last meeting. If everyone had a chance to look at it and read it, if there's any corrections or additions or subtractions. Anybody? Okay, I'd like a motion to accept them.
I move we accept the minutes.
Second. Okay. Motion by Neil and second by Phyllis. Thank you very much, and we will accept those as is. We have a section now open to the public if we have any comments. Anybody? No? Okay. Do we have any reports for any standing groups and officers here? I don't think we do because we really didn't have any standing groups working at the last meeting. Okay, regular business. Director's report. Mr. Eric.
Thank you. Yes, we had discussed in our meeting at the land, believe we mentioned it at a meeting or two before about the Love Your Library, bringing that back. Yes, ma'am.
You're not talking to the microphone.
You can't hear it? How about that? Better?
Much better.
Okay. The Love Your Library event, and that hasn't occurred since February of 2020. And for those that aren't familiar with it, that is a partnership between the advisory board and the Friends groups, and has been a pretty amazing event over the past decade. So we're looking into options for how that might regenerate itself in the coming year for next February. But I'm working with staff, and we'll come up with some ideas, bring them back to you, and see what you guys might want to do.
Okay, that's great.
And at that point, that would be when you may bring back some more standing work groups or establish a standing work group or something to that effect. All right. Couple of items that you guys need to have your attention on, and that is especially the coming month. The first one that I put on there was an update of the Library Advisory Board bylaws with the current resolution language. We're in the process of updating them, staff's updating them to match the resolution that passed. You have a copy of both. That was the resolution number 2022-029 that was passed by the Library Governing Board, and I'll give you the date. That was signed on March 22nd, I believe. Yes, on March 22nd, 2022. And you have a copy of the old bylaws as they were last updated in June of 1990. So you see it's time for an update. And what we'll do, there's not a lot of changes to be made, but we want to make sure that it matches the current resolution, and remove anything that's superfluous or change anything that was modified to match. Once we get that done, it will go it'll go through the county attorney's office. She'll check it to make sure everything is appropriate and in alignment according to the law, and then we'll bring it back to you. And basically, you're just adopting it, but the final approval has to go before the Library Governing Board of those bylaws. So it's a process, and we'll try to get that through. I'm going to work with county administration and the others and see if we can attach that possibly to the library preliminary budget hearing on July 27th. So our goal would be to have the updated bylaws back to you for review and comment in your June meeting.
Okay, thanks.
And like I said, individually, you guys can read through those. You can see the updated resolution, the old bylaws. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me direct. if you have any suggestions or thoughts. And then I will work that in or work with the attorney to make sure that's worked in appropriately for the review. And then, like I said, hopefully we'll get that on for the 27th and get that updated. Excuse me. The second item is the policy updates timeline. At the last meeting, they talked about, the last BOCC meeting talked about a full review and update of all library policies, which we're working on. We've been working on that for a while. I think we have about 24 policies in total. I say about because there's a couple of them that were outdated, very old, that we're just kind of transitioning out. But that's all policies, everything from operations through how we do everything, and we're going to squeeze out any procedural stuff, get those all updated. But the process is very similar. We're going to run all of those policies through the county attorney's office, so they'll be reviewed by her, and they'll be coming back to you at your June 28th meeting. At that point, what you would be doing is basically endorsing those or providing your comment to those that can go back to the BOCC for their meeting on July 26th, which is where they would finalize and approve those. So again, those dates are becoming the policies. All of them will be coming back to you to your June 28th meeting. We'll try to get at least we'll get all of the completed ones to you with at least a minimum of a week's time to review them, hopefully
Okay.
closer to 2 weeks. I'll work with the county attorney to make sure we get them out as soon as possible for folks to review. And then they'll be part of that agenda for that June 28th meeting. And then you would basically endorse those with comment if you have any. Then that goes to the BOCC for their July 26th for final discussion and approval by them.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All of you have this little colorful sheet that staff put together. That is basically our 6 months in review. That's just a general update of our statistics. We're glad to see a lot of them moving back in positive directions after the past 2.5 years where things were down for pretty much everyone everywhere. So a lot of that is coming back. As you can see, the one we like to focus on there, digital circulation over that 6 months, is well over 50,000 items. Total circulation you see there in green is about 200,000, almost 200,000. So we're at about 250,000 total circulation items over in a 6-month period. That's very good. That's been coming back. And you can see the different breakdowns there. Again, this is just for a 6-month period, in 21, 22, from October 1st through March 30th. Library visits that period of time, that's all 5 branches combined, 131,378 branch visits in that 6-month period. Total registered patrons, 57,252. That is an ongoing number. It changes from month to month because we have folks that leave, folks that are removed from the rolls for whatever reason. We remove inactive cards. So I always tell folks, do you have a library card? Some of them say, oh, sure. When was the last time you visited or used your library card? And if it's been more than 4 or 5 years, then you probably don't have a library card anymore. So it's good to come by and get that updated with us. So we keep that very active. That's required by the state when we submit our state statistics. They want an accurate number of how many registered cardholders, active registered cardholders we have.
Okay.
The reference questions asked, I always thought that's basically reference questions answered, hopefully. About 12, almost 11,262. That is our in-person virtual questions and a lot of technology instruction. So I think we've had that discussion before where folks don't need to ask those basic questions anymore. They use Google. Most of the questions that come in are either more reference in nature, research in nature, or a lot of technology for all things tech. The new cards you see down there on the right, that's 2,884 cards. That's in 6-month period we signed up almost 3,000 new library card holders.
That's
That's
impressive.
always good. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yep. So we're averaging, well over 5,000 a year, new library cards. That's always wonderful. And of course, the programs in attendance. That's all of our in-house programs, technology programs, literacy programs, outreach programs. That's all of them. In that 6-month period, we had over 1,100 programs. That's all 5 branches combined with outreach. with over 10,000 in attendance at those programs. And I think we've discussed before as well the computer sessions versus the Wi-Fi. Computer sessions, while that, of course, it's kind of gone up since COVID, but if we look at comparisons, we like to compare to 2018-19 because that was the last full year pre-pandemic where we can compare where we were ramping up to on our statistics. We see those in-house computer sessions, while still strong, are starting to wane because folks have their own devices. They use our Wi-Fi a lot more, and you can see there those sessions, indoor Wi-Fi sessions at over almost 19,000 indoor Wi-Fi sessions and another 4,000 on the outdoor Wi-Fi sessions. And we added that Wi-Fi outdoor this past year to give people those options so they didn't have to come in if they didn't need to. And it also provides some after-hours access, internet access, as well as Sundays when we're closed. So the goal will be we'll bring this back again in another 6 months so you guys can see the year in review. As we end in our fiscal year in September 30th, we'll bring back a full year in review and start comparing this full year to, like I said, that 18-19 year when we had our last full year pre-pandemic. Because that's our goal, is to get back to where we were prior to all of the interruptions. Okay, any questions on statistics?
She has a question.
Yeah,
Yes.
under circulation, I get adult, young adult, but what are bills?
Oh, interlibrary loan.
Oh.
Yes, that's library.
I should know that. Sorry.
Yes. No, that's fine. That's a good question. Lots of people ask that. Interlibrary loan is where we borrow items from other libraries around the state. That's pretty popular. You see almost 2,000 items we borrowed from libraries from all around. Typically, it's stuff that we either don't have or things that we probably wouldn't want to buy because it's not very popular. So people have different kinds of requests, or they're doing research on a special topic and they need things from a university or something. We borrow from them as well if they're willing to lend it. And we have a pretty good ratio there. To participate in that program, we also lend our materials out to other libraries around the state. But you can see we borrowed 2,000 items, and we only had to lend out about 600, so we get the better end of that deal. But that's just libraries cooperating and partnering across the entire state. And sometimes out of state if we need. We can search out of state if necessary. Okay. Any other questions on statistics?
No, just the volunteer hours are really nice too. Almost 8,000.
Yeah, the volunteer hours are amazing. I'm going to talk about that next too. Some of you got to attend. I know some of you guys were able to attend the volunteer appreciation. I just want to take a few minutes to recognize the fact that was a great event. I want to thank staff for putting on an amazing volunteer appreciation event that Saturday in April. That was very nice. But the library has over 260 volunteers, and that includes more than 65 high schoolers, teenagers. So we're really proud of the fact that we've been able to work with them more closely to get them. And there'll be some more information about them later that Debbie's going to share with you. But the hours that they contribute last fiscal year was almost 13,000 hours, and you can see we're on track to exceed that this year. With over 8,000 just in the first. So we're climbing back towards that 20,000 hour number, which is what we had seen, prior to COVID. So that's a wonderful thing. That's the equivalent, that almost 13,000 hours is equivalent to over 6 full-time staff members. So we can't do what we do without the number of volunteers and their hours and all the stuff that they do to help us out. So it's a very good thing.
Can you translate that to dollars and cents?
I don't have the dollar number in front of me, but it's million. It's well over $1 million in value. I apologize. I should have had that number here. I typically do, but there is a formula that we use that the Volunteer Center uses for that. We also recognize John San Pedro. Those of you that know John, he's been at the Central Ridge Library for 26 years. So John's been around a long time, and he's been there, I think, he came about the same year I came, so we've known each other for a long time. And he is currently our longest serving volunteer. But just to recognize those folks, we also did our awards, which we always appreciate. We want to give everybody an award because everyone is very deserving. But Holly Wilk at the Central Ridge Library, we do the outstanding volunteer awards for them. Each branch gets one. So Holly Wilk was at Central Ridge. Robin Quinn was at Coastal Region, Stephen Fox at Floral City, Deb Spence at Homosassa, and Kay Wolf at Lakes Region. We also give an adult literacy team, puts an adult literacy volunteer award, and that went to Joseph Gilbody of Homosassa. And our teen volunteer award this year, he was unable to join us because some of these teens make me look like I'm slacking. I mean, they are super busy and amazing kids. And Jason Liu of Homosassa was our teen volunteer of the year. And we're still working to actually catch up with him to get a photo op and give him his award. So I think we're going to have to actually go to wherever he's working for the day, and we'll get that, and we'll get him recognized as well. And of course, the Citrus Library's Volunteer of the Year went to Josie Weber at Coastal Region Branch, and many of you know Josie. She's been around for over 10 years. So I just wanted to give them an extra recognition. We can't do it without them, and of course, you're all volunteers as well, so thank you for your time and efforts. So we appreciate that. Any questions on the volunteers?
No, that's great. Great news.
Good stuff. And of course, speaking of awards and things, the Chamber did their annual Pillar Awards, where they vote for different folks, and I want to recognize the Friends of the Citrus County Library System this year. They won the John T. Barnes Outstanding Community Organization Award. That is amazing for everything that they do. Thank you very much. I mean, as you guys know, they've been working well over, as an organization, that umbrella organization has been working well over, 21, going on their 21st year now, and has raised, almost collectively over $1.4 million for the library. So that's a pretty amazing accomplishment, and it was nice to see them get recognized. Also, one of our volunteers was recognized. Miss Sally Baumgardner, I don't know how many of you know Sally. Altrusa recognized her with their Mamie L. Bass Award, which is for outstanding volunteerism, altruism, and literacy. And Sally manages our homebound program. And for those of you not clear understand the specifics of that, that is where she comes in weekly and has been for years. And they gather a lot of the books and reading materials together for folks, and she has a little small army of volunteers that go out and deliver those to people in their homes that can't get to the library. That's a 100% volunteer-driven program. We would not be able to do that without them, and Sally has been, I would say, extremely dedicated to that, and she runs it very well. It's very well organized. It's pretty amazing. So we thank Sally for that. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Taylor, who has other things to discuss with all of our upcoming programs and other things. So, Taylor.
Well, I do have one thing to add. Also at the Pillar Awards, Eric was honored with the President's Award, which is only given very rarely. I believe Debbie and I looked it up, and the last time it was given was almost 6 years ago. And so it is given at the distinction and the discretion of the president and CEO at the time of the chamber. And so Eric was surprised. It is very hard to surprise Eric with an award. And so our staff who were there to celebrate with the friends and with Sally were also surprised as well. And so it was just a fantastic evening for libraries. So we were very excited. All right. So as you can see, there's lots of goodies waiting for you at your spots. With our volunteer appreciation every year, we do give a gift of gratitude and thanks for our volunteers. And so you all have that little goodie there for you, including a library pen, because as we've heard, our library pens are a hot commodity. They work really well and people enjoy them. So, have another library pen.
Okay.
So those are for you. With that, you would have also seen this lovely rack card that we put out. So for, I'd say, the last 5 or 6 years pre-COVID, there is a guide or a card of some sort that is given out to every student in Citrus County, grades kindergarten through 5th. And so we partner with the schools, both our 11 public elementary schools and 6 private elementary schools in the county, to disperse almost, I think we were just over 8,000 cards this year to the kindergarten through 5th grade students to let them know about summer reading and different programs and things that are happening at the libraries. So this card is something newer this year. We did a much more condensed version. We are working on keeping all of the programming information on our website, because that is something that we can easily update and change as changes come up throughout the summer, which we know happens. We've learned very quickly these last couple of years that changes happen on the fly, and so we are using our website to its fullest to the fullest this year. And so just a couple of things to note on the back of the card. We are doing programs for our students ages 6 through 9, and then a new addition is programs every week for our students 10 through 13. And so each of our youth librarians will be working on 2 separate programs in addition to their baby books and babies and little learners programs that they do already. So they are adding 2 additional programs at an hour each, and they are going to be doing 4 total programs a week starting on June 1st. So if you see our youth librarians running around a little scattered, don't worry, it's summer. That is pretty normal for them. All right, and so all of those programs can be found on our website and our new calendar pretty easily. They all have the Oceans of Possibilities label on them. All the way to the right of the card, it talks about 3 different camps. So in the summer of 2019, our Floral City branch and our Coastal Region branches both did a week-long summer camp program for students. Our Floral City branch did one for our younger kiddos. I believe it was 1st through 4th grade. And then our Coastal Region branch did one for our tweens, because we know it's sometimes hard to get them to come in and hang out with us at the library. And so they did an art program that week. And due to everything last summer, we just weren't able to have camps, but we were able to bring them back this year. And so you'll see that there is once again an art camp at our Coastal Region branch, Mad Science Camp at our Lakes Region branch, and then Surfs Up Camp at our Homosassa branch. And so those are going to be 3-day camps, again, for our 10 through 13-year-old students who are coming in. And those are a limited sign-up. I believe it's limited at 20 students per camp. So we know our youth librarians have already been talking them up, and I believe registrations have already opened for 2 of the camps, and those are already starting to fill. So we are pretty excited that our youth librarians have been able to bring that back once again this summer. And then in the middle, our newest addition to our summer programming is the Beanstalk app. And so I believe I talked about it a little bit in a preview at our last meeting, but it has gone live. Beanstalk went live and launched to our public and our community on May the 2nd, so this past Monday. And so the Beanstalk Tracker app is a way for readers of all ages, 0 to 109. Yes, it's 109. So if you know anyone 110 who wants to read, let us know, and we'll work on getting that age range moved up. However, this is to encourage reading at all ages and all levels. And so currently there are 2 challenges that are ongoing. There's a genre challenge, which is just there to encourage you to read books that are outside your norm. So if you're a big fiction reader, but you're not really into sci-fi, we're going to encourage you to try a sci-fi and a history and some nonfiction and just different things to expand your reading horizons. Maybe try a new author out. And so every time you read a new genre and you finish that book, you unlock a virtual badge. And so we have seen that badging works with our youngest readers, and so we're hoping to bring out that competitive spirit in our adult readers once again. And you can make friends and you can share your reading streaks. It's pretty exciting. And then our other challenge that is currently up is growing readers. And so that one is just a minutes challenge. And so as you read and log your minutes, and audiobooks do count, those will allow you to unlock badges as well. And so there is every time you read 60 minutes, you unlock a new badge. And so that is just the newest thing that we have going. And starting on May the 16th, we will be launching pre-registration for our summer reading challenges, which go with the brochures that you have in front of you. These are both draft versions of our brochures. They're going through the final look-sees with staff. They've had some notes and some edits to make before we print off a large number of them to hand out starting next week. But there is one that talks about our kids from 0 to 18. And so with that challenge, every year we have prizes for our students who, as they complete different reading amounts every week, they unlock a ticket or a prize. And so we are doing that all online now. And so the parents will register their student once at the beginning of the summer, and then that student is going to be able to track their reading throughout the summer. And so every time they add more minutes into their account, it will automatically track that and add that in. And then once they hit 60 minutes every week, that will unlock a treasure chest prize and a ticket to go into our baskets. And so this year we have worked with Hunter Springs Kayaks once again and the Homosassa Walmart. And so Hunter Springs Kayaks has given us 10 trips, 10 kayaking excursions for a student and their guardian. And so we have two kids from every branch will be able to have a chance to win one of those trips. And then our Homosassa Walmart donated some funds for us to be able to purchase supplies to make family fun baskets. And so Adam went on quite the shopping trip the other day to get board games and different activities and things that will create 2 different baskets. Each branch will get 2 baskets and 2 kayak trips that kids will be able to put their tickets in for, to have a drawing at the end of the summer. And so we are really working on doing things that involve making memories for families. Our youth librarians have spoken a lot with their families that have come into the libraries this past couple of years. And that is one thing that they have really emphasized, the families have, is that they're looking for ways to make memories and do things together as a family. And so we are trying to have our prizes reflect that for them. So that was everything in this brochure. And because the adults ask every summer when they get to have summer reading, guess what? It's coming for you as well. So anyone over 18 will be able to participate in the Adult Summer Reading Challenge. Now, unfortunately, I don't have prizes for you this summer. You just get the satisfaction of reading and a job well done with your digital badges that you'll unlock. So that registration will also open for you all to be able to participate on May the 16th. So we are very excited. Now, if you and all of your friends and neighbors want to start participating and we see that it's really popular, we may add prizes next year. You know, you got to show us that you want the prizes. We're coming. We can find stuff for you. So we will make that happen starting next week, and we are very excited to just see where the summer can go. Our youth librarians have worked really hard to amp things back up, and it should be an amazing summer. Now, a little quick Beanstalk stat that Eric doesn't have yet, because I had Vicki and Nathan pull the number late yesterday afternoon. In just a couple of weeks, we have already logged over 10,000 minutes reading in the Beanstalk app, and that's only with staff getting access about 2 weeks prior to the public getting access. So y'all who have already logged, I think I see a couple of faces who have already joined in our audience here. You are all already logging minutes, and so we are very, we can't wait to see what happens and how many minutes we're able to reach by the end of the summer. So good things for summer. Okay. Now, part of the 60 minutes that they read every week does correlate to some research that we've done with the summer slide. There is an article that we just put up on our website that talks about the summer slide. And so what that means is that students who aren't reading during the summer can regress in their reading skills, and that can build up over the years. And so what we have found in our research is to help prevent that summer slide is to have kids reading about 20 minutes a day. And so We know it doesn't sound like a lot, but to get kids to sit down during the summer to read is a challenge for parents with active kiddos. And so we are doing everything that we can to help encourage that reading so that they are continuing to make gains when they head back to school and that they don't have that regression or that slip backwards. So if you hear summer slide, that is what it is. It's not actually a slide, unfortunately, though that would be much more fun, I believe. And just a couple of program highlights for the summer. We have a lovely group that has been working with us for more than 6 months, probably closer to 8 months now, bringing some really fantastic science programs to our libraries. And they, in conversation a few months ago, were like, what are you doing for the summer? And we talked about the oceans theme, and they said, well, we could do a program about seashells. So now there will be 2 programs about Florida seashells and just the history of shells and different things about how you find them. And I don't even know all of the details yet because I don't know if they've even finished and finalized fleshing out all the details for the presentation yet, but there's always a show and tell portion, and they have shells for kids to look at and understand the differences between them. And so it's really bringing science to life for a lot of our students who are coming in. And most of those programs are geared for our 4th grade and up age range to keep them interested and engaged in the sciences, as well as bringing them back into our libraries. So we are thrilled to see that coming back. Another partnership that we have worked on for years, about 5 years now in the summer, has been with Citrus County Blessings. And so for those of you who aren't familiar with Blessings, they provide food to students who would go without food or go hungry on the weekends during the school year. And they realized that if they were receiving blessings during the school year, how are they getting food over the summer? And so we have worked with them every year for the last 5 years. It was pretty intense during that first COVID summer of making sure students had food. But they have volunteers that kind of set up camp for a couple of hours on a Wednesday. And so every week of the summer, they come to 3 or 4 branch locations. They're still finalizing which feed locations they will have for the summer. And they utilize our parking lots, our overhang at Central. So if it's a Wednesday at Central Ridge and you're driving through to leave your book in the book drop, don't be concerned when you see about a half a dozen volunteers with bags of food. They're there for blessings. And so we are thrilled to be working with them once again to provide a location for them to come that's safe for their volunteers, and again is able to remind people that the library is here for the community in a multitude of ways. All right, I think that is everything I had in information on summer. But wait, there's more. Okay. In the last meeting, we had the conversation that you guys would be interested in knowing about our upcoming book displays. And so under your little statistics page is a lovely Excel printout that we have collected that talks about all of the book displays that are being put up in our libraries for May and June. And now I will say that depending on current events or things that are happening, if there's an author that passes away or significant figures in the global and national communities, we will sometimes do book displays honoring their passing. But again, we can't plan for those because we don't know. So depending on how many books or materials we have available, those can also pop up around the branches. Now, you will see that in May, we do have a couple of different displays about mental health awareness. We are working with NAMI, and this week there will be a program that NAMI presents that talks about mental health and just different awareness factors there. So you will see mental health awareness book displays. We had a couple of Cinco de Mayo displays up. One of our staff members at the Coastal Region branch put together a fabulous educational program with some crafts and different activities for people to participate in on Cinco de Mayo. And so she had a book display that reflected that as well. We have some book displays that are already going up that promote our Oceans of Possibilities theme. And so there are a ton of new books coming in, both adult and kids books, that have to do with oceans, our waterways, water life and creatures. the number of oceans and sea books that have been coming in the back is just astronomical. Our youth librarians have done a fantastic job helping Karen find these new books to add to our collection for the summer that really fit our theme. And then, Star Wars Breeds Day has already passed, so there were quite a few Star Wars book displays that were up and will continue to be up throughout the remainder of the month. And then our Homosassa branch will be putting up a Memorial Day display. And so if you're not familiar, Derek, I believe, is working on that display. And Derek is our staff member who has been working diligently this last year on our History Hour presentations. And so he has quite a love and a passion for history. And so he just did a presentation, I believe, on the Battle of Okinawa and has a couple of different presentations upcoming. Also, Founding Fathers Trivia will be happening in July, right around the 4th of July. So if anyone's a trivia history buff, head over to the Homosassa Library. I'll have more details at the next meeting. And then in June, our main sets of book displays, both in our kids areas and out in our main portions of the branch, will be related to our Oceans of Possibilities theme. And so you will see that in the adult brochure, there were some different books that are listed there, both fiction and nonfiction titles that have to do with water and oceans. One of the nonfiction books sounded very interesting at first glance, not an oceans book, and then you read the back and you're like, oh, that fits, it works. So we've got a lot of fantastic things upcoming, and then next month at our June meeting, I will have the list of displays for July, August, and September, because that fits within our quarterly planning process.
Can we get graphics with it?
Hmm?
Can we get graphics with the list so we see what they look like?
So we won't be able to give you graphics with the list because it is a list of preparation of what's coming, and our staff members won't have those graphics available until they have completed that display. And so I can bring pictures of past displays, but I wouldn't be able to bring pictures of current or upcoming displays because they haven't been created yet. Okay. Any additional book displays, summer reading, Beanstalk questions? I think that was everything I covered.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
Can we do for like the handicapped children, can we do like life-size pop-up books?
I do not know if there's life-size pop-up books, but we can
No,
look in.
there's not. I'm
to
saying
it?
can we make a big room, like a big room divider with the pop-up, tell a story on it.
No, we
something to
can
engage the-
make a note and talk to staff.
That would be cool.
Look into it.
Yes, Neil.
So you heard us all groan when there's no
Prize.
awards for the adults. And I don't know if this is anything that we could even do, but is it possible that maybe the advisory board could assist in donating for awards for the adult summer reading program? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there as a possibility. I don't even know whether we do that kind of, or if we even have money. Throwing it out there.
You don't.
We don't.
You have no money.
We don't.
That's what.
If we had
We don't-
You'll
we
have
don't
to
have
you'll have to
anything. It's the
confer with
friends.
friends
They
after
have
the
the
meeting,
money.
but
Oh, okay.
obviously we usually typically either get that stuff donated from a vendor or a business, like Hunter Springs Kayaks has been amazing.
Or the
We go out and solicit for that ahead of time, and they donate that. That's probably what we would do. If it's something that's hard to get a business to sponsor, we typically lean on our friends of the library,
Like the way
and they've
you
been
said, lean on.
amazing as far as providing funds for that. So, yeah, those are the two sources that we usually get.
We are well versed, I will say, in prizes for our summer reading program for our kids. And so one thing with Beanstalk that our implementation team, Nathan and Vicky, who I worked with to do our website, we have also been working to implement Beanstalk. We have been doing an extensive amount of research into what other libraries who utilize Beanstalk are doing for their adults. And so I think this summer we're kind of in that exploratory phase of let's see how this goes. Let's keep track of what other libraries are doing, pull it from the ideas that we like so that we're not reinventing the wheel. And then next summer we will be fully prepared to figure out all of the prizes for both our kids and the adults. The adults, reading challenge was kind of a last minute add-on as we had Beanstalk available for us this year. So,
And the question I have about Beanstalk, okay, you're using it for the summer. Are you also researching and looking at it to use it other times of the year?
oh, we are April. What do
Okay,
you
good.
think we're doing here? Of course, we've got
Okay.
all sorts of different things and exciting plans ahead. We have an upcoming meeting with some of our supervisors and managers, and so we will have some plans to pitch out to them to see how we can make that work starting after the summer and then again into our new fiscal year starting in October. So we've got some ideas.
Okay, good.
Yes.
'Cause it sounds great.
Yes,
Sounds like a
Ken.
great program.
Yeah, I notice you've got the QRS in the back. Does that take you to the calendar
So
on the
that
library?
takes you directly to our website,
Website?
and then on our website there is an image that looks very similar to that card that talks about the oceans of possibilities, which you can click on. It's pretty much once you
So this
scan
can be,
that code,
this is a
you'll click it
shortcut to
there.
get to the,
It's a shortcut to get to the website. Yes, sir.
Nice. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Carol.
Just wanted to say I enjoyed the Facebook promotion of Oceans of Possibilities as the staff person ran through the library
Yes.
screaming,
About the shark.
and the shark.
That was fabulous.
That
Yeah.
was good.
I was the shark fin at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
It was quite the effort I had to make there.
Yeah.
You know, whew, it was a crazy 8 o'clock in the
Makeup
morning
was
filming.
difficult, though.
It really was. It was. Yes. Our fantastic youth team came up. They storyboarded the whole thing. All Dave and I had to do was show up with the cameras and film. And then they realized they needed someone to be the shark fin, and I was unanimously nominated to be the shark fin. So
I can see why.
I don't know what you're talking about. It was a fantastic morning for us. So next up, I have Adam, who is ready to talk about another project we have upcoming, launching soon.
Thank you, Taylor. That was fabulous. Thank you.
So in addition to what Taylor had mentioned with the summer and all the other things going on, got a couple projects that we have upcoming and sort of ongoing. The first one is, in front of you all I put 2 seed packets. We recently launched at the Lakes Region Library our first seed library. That launched on Earth Day, and it's been up for about 3 weeks. And what we've been doing is we've been making these little packets of seeds. On the front it's got our information, on the back it has all the growing instructions. The seeds were given from a variety of different local businesses, large seed companies, in partnership with the Extension Services Office. Lots of different groups are willing to give seeds to help us start our program. And in those first 3 weeks, we've given out around 500 packets of these seeds to different families and patrons that have come in that were interested in starting their own gardens. We've also worked a little bit with the health department. We're just starting to go out to some of the local VPKs in the area. They've invited us to come out because they're interested in gardening and learning about plants and the parts of plants. So they've requested that we bring seeds to them. In addition, we're also doing a plant-themed story time and craft to go along with that to kind of further extend that learning at those sites. So our youth librarians are starting to go out and do those things. And we will be launching another seed library shortly at the Homosassa Library. Both of these seed libraries have been in partnership with the different Friends groups. The first one at Lakes was with the Friends of Lakes Region Library, and then the Friends of the Homosassa Library will be helping start the one in Homosassa, and it may expand to the other branches as well as we get more used to the process of our seed libraries. So that's one of our projects.
Thanks for the seeds.
Oh, you're welcome. And we have a variety of seeds. I don't know if I mentioned that entirely, but we have all different types of fruits, vegetables, herbs, and flowers that we're getting donated. And we're putting them out. We're trying to put them out by season, growing season, and just availability in general. But we have probably 24 different types of seeds people can take at this point.
Wow.
And we just continuously replenish as people take them and what their interests are. And the other thing that we have that's upcoming, this one, we started probably about six or 7 months ago as a grant idea, but it sort of morphed into more of a partnership. And we're very happy that we're able to partner with Deb Savage and Ed Youngblood through their dementia education group. And what we're creating are their compassion care kits. So this bag here. And basically what's inside this kit is about half a dozen items. Some of them are books, DVDs. There's some music in here, and there's some other manipulatives to help people that are going through dementia, or they're caregivers. Sometimes they just need support and need kind of advice or help on how to further connect with their loved one that's going through different stages of dementia. So inside this kit will be a bunch of different resources that people can check out for 2 weeks. And then they can kind of use the things in there to, again, help connect with their loved one. So I have a couple sample kits that you feel free to take a look at. They're not completely finished, but they'll be checked out for 2 weeks. We've got 14 different themes that we're creating. We're going to have about 25 bags total when we start. But the themes are on things like trains and transportation. We've got sewing, military, music, dogs, cats, tools. So we tried to find a variety of different things for people to connect with or what they might be interested in, just to kind of, again, encourage people to connect with their loved ones or give them that extra little bit of support.
Wow.
And we decided to call them compassionate care kits rather than put just the word dementia or something on there to eliminate any of that stigma or concern. And in speaking with Deb Savage and some of our other community members, they suggested that these kits may also branch out to other members of the community, not just people that are suffering with dementia. They may be, other people that will be interested in the kit. So we're excited that that partnership may grow. And I think of.
Do you want to mention the donation we received from
yes.
Dementia Education?
Yes, Dementia Education. The way this all started was they provided a $3,000 donation to start the kits. So we've used that to purchase everything inside of each of the kits. We're hoping to launch this sometime early June. We're finalizing a lot of just the stuff that goes inside it. We will be going to a conference, a local conference on Thursday to kind of promote the kits, working with Deb Savage on that. She is also providing one of her books free in every kit, along with some different resources and handouts to go along with it that the patron that checks this out can actually keep. Most of the items will need to be returned in the kit, but there are some consumables that they'll be able to take and have as theirs to kind of continue to use. So we're excited about those.
Wow.
And the Lakes Friends did purchase all of the bags for us. So we actually bought 100 of the bags, even though we're making 25 of these kits. And the idea is eventually to see how these kits go and expand on compassionate care kits, or even expand to other kits for kids, story time to go, or STEM checkout kits, things like that. So we're hoping that with this model we can kind of further kind of build that up as well.
Wow.
What's a manipulative?
A manipulative is something like Play-Doh.
Oh, okay.
It's like lacing cards, just something that gives them, like even a puzzle, something like that. So we have things that they can just like sit and watch or look at a book, but then things to kind of engage their mind and use dexterity and things like that.
Learn something new every day.
All right. So those are my two kind of upcoming projects. Does anybody have any questions on either of those?
I think it's fantastic.
They're just great
Wonderful.
projects. I think that's awesome.
All right, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to Debbie. She's going to talk about some of our volunteers and the Golden Citrus Scholars.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Good morning. Taylor asked me to mention something, that we did do an outreach in partnership with the Extension's office, and we were present and had a table and had our story walk at Earth Day. It was right across the street, and it was really a nice event. This is the first time that they've done it since COVID, so we look forward to partnering with them some more. But the main reason why I'm up here is to talk about the Golden Citrus Scholars. As many of you know, Eric and I are on the Citrus County Education Foundation board, and Golden Citrus Scholars is a program that they have to recognize our seniors that are graduating, and they get scholarships and gifts and all kinds of stuff. It's actually one of my most favorite events with the Education Foundation. Years prior to COVID, they'd have a big banquet and recognize the students at dinner and an award ceremony. But when COVID hit, they had to switch it up. And we got on a big school bus and visited all the students and gave them their scholarships, their awards, and things like that. You know, picture like Publisher Clearinghouse, you know, we had the balloons and the confetti, and it was a lot of fun. What warms our library hearts is that 6 of the 24 awardees were library volunteers. So that's amazing. That's 25% have volunteered at the library. It just, we have a positive impact on their lives. They have a positive impact on our library's lives. So what we'd like to do is spotlight some of these great students. The first one is Kendall Mccarrick. She's Citrus High. She went to Citrus High, and her category was science. She's a volunteer at Lakes Region Library for 2 years, shelving books, shifting books. She had a 4.8 GPA.
Jeez.
She's going to Florida Southern College and plans on going to medical school. She won one of the $500 awards, so she was a school winner. Second one, another $500 school winner, was Ariel Cooper, who went to Lecanto High School, and her category was the fine and performing arts. She's a volunteer at Central Ridge for 1 year, and she also shelved books, shift books, and helped out cleaning books, whatever we needed her to do. She was a National Merit Award winner, which is the top 1% of all students in the United States.
Wow.
She's going to Amherst College for architecture and wants to study sustainable and affordable housing in the United States. Our third one was a district winner, and she didn't volunteer at a library, but she was a volunteer with Focals. Her name's Abby Smith. She went to Citrus High School, and she's the category was English Literature and Journalism. For the past 2 years, she has worked at the book house and the book sales, and is a young one that could lift boxes, so we loved it. The night before we got on the bus to hand out these awards, she had a graduation ceremony from CF. She has already earned her associate's degree before graduating from high school. Her GPA is 4.73. She's going to the University of Florida for mechanical engineering and hopes to get a master's degree in oceanographic engineering. Now, our Hall of Fame winner was also our Volunteer of the Year for the library system. He got a $2,000 stipend and a laptop. But like I said, he was a volunteer at Homosassa for 2 years. His category was mathematics and engineering. He had a 4.81 GPA and was also a National Merit Award winner, so he was in the top 1% of all students in the United States. The amazing thing about Jason Liu, is that he has been working at his family's restaurant since he's been 7 years old. So not only is he doing these great things, but he's helping support his family. He's going to Williams College in Massachusetts studying mathematics and physics, and his goal is to become a civil engineer. When they were interviewing him, he had a quote. He said, "Remember your family and remember the people who support you for your entire way, as those are the ones that are going to be with you forever." So, now our next two awards are my Heart Awards, and it's actually called the Citrus Golden Heart. This is a special category. These are for students who overcome obstacles while they're going to school, while they're being all these things. They have lost their parents. Some of them are homeless. I mean, sometimes we go on the bus and you're going down we have to get off the bus and go down a bumpy road to a mobile home. I mean, they still manage to be scholars. So our first one that got the $2,000 stipend and a laptop, Golden Heart, is Connor Kuzmiko from Citrus High School. He's a coastal region volunteer, tech help, has a 4.71 GPA, and he's going to Florida Pyrotech to study cybersecurity. And then there's Holly McLeod from Lecanto High School, math and engineering category. She's been a volunteer at Lakes Region Library for 2 years. She is one of the top 3 students in the entire county. She's going to go to UF and study environmental sciences and writing. So these are some of the amazing teen volunteers that we have that are helping our customers, helping us, and making our life easier. and we are just so proud that they have been a part of our library system.
Awesome.
So,
Debbie,
hmm,
how do you get them?
how do you get
How do you get them to volunteer?
the volunteers? Well, first of all, our volunteer coordinators do an awesome job reaching out, and it's very well known that the library is the place to volunteer. I mean, it's air conditioned. It's
Wi-Fi?
We work with the high
Wi-Fi.
schools.
We work with the high schools, and they just come.
Yep.
They come and go. So, okay. Do you have any questions about our awesome teens? No.
Thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome.
Yep. Yeah, it's awesome to have,
Very positive.
when you spend time around some of these, and I've been to a lot of different events over the past couple of months where these teens are being recognized. I will say it restores your faith in humanity to see all of these things, and it absolutely is amazing because there's so much negativity in the world about younger people especially and things, but you see that these are the ones that don't always get the attention. There's a lot of them working extremely hard. They're extremely bright, and they have an extremely bright future. So it's amazing to see that. And we're definitely looking into, because we've seen our volunteer program with the high schools and these teen volunteers grow almost on its own. So we're looking at ways to be more effective with the teens. What else can they do in the libraries? How can we make that a more rewarding and engaging experience for them, so that they're able to get even more out of the experience as early as possible. So we're excited about that. Thank you. A couple other things, just to mention. I know Adam talked about the Deb Sal Savage. Just to remind you guys, we also work, all of our locations are considered dementia-friendly sites. The reason that happens is all of our staff go through training with Deb Sal Savage's group. We try to keep that updated on an annual basis. We go through that often. She has classes at, I think, almost all of our locations from time to time, and you're welcome to sign up for one of those. And I would recommend it just to have a better awareness of dementia and how that impacts not just the person that's experiencing the dementia, but how that impacts the family and the caregivers of those that are suffering from that. It can be a pretty eye-opening class. So we put all of our staff through those annually, or as often as possible, to keep ourselves aware, because obviously we serve a public that has a large retirement population, and that seems to be a higher percentage of those. So anything that we can do to help recognize those things when we're serving our customers is important. The other thing was kind of jumped up on us quickly. Taylor and her crew put this out quickly. Staff responded quickly. Animal Services, it's also in the Department of Community Services. We've been helping them out this month with they had an emergency need for towels and blankets. For those of you that follow the news know that Animal Services has an unusual number of cases of animal cruelty and things. So they've been inundated with animals. So when that happens, they need a lot of towels and blankets and things. So we are all drop-off points for that. They put together a quick social media blast, and that has been extremely popular. I think that has been continuing to pour in. And I asked them the other day, do you still need more? They said yes. I said, well, just keep it coming. So we'll continue that through the month of May, or until they say please stop, that they have enough. But those are things that can actually be very expensive for them to buy, so the donations really make a huge difference for them. So yes, excellent. And I think that's all I had. We're good, unless you have any questions.
Okay. Under old business, I just have a question. We have a few new members, and I was wondering if they had the initial instruction and training that we had about the LAB.
LAB orientation.
Orientation,
Well,
thank
yes,
you.
and we're working to actually update and review that. So what I would like to do in a future meeting, maybe not at the next one, but the following one, possibly I believe your August meeting, I have to have the schedule in front of you, to do an orientation to maybe all of you, just to give you a new overview, because I think everybody appreciates that. But maybe once a year we could start doing that annually, and update you guys on everything LAB the history and all that sort of thing. It would be good. Put together a
Yes,
new.
I-
We'll have a PowerPoint and some handouts and everything through your books that you already have, and we can make some updates on that and just make that a good 30 or 45-minute
Okay.
presentation
Do you think-
at
yeah,
one
do
of
you
your
think
upcoming
August-
meetings.
August or September, which one's
Yeah.
realistic? August?
Okay. I think it's the August meeting.
August? Okay, we'll do it in August.
Yeah,
Great, thank you very much.
you bet.
Okay, let me go around and see if anybody has any other business. Let me start with Phyllis. Anything?
Nothing outrageous. We're excited about starting our Oceans of Possibilities for the summer. And we have some volunteer meetings this week with April to get things going. So,
Great, thanks. Edith?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Lorraine?
I have
Pull your-
nothing, oh, I'm sorry. Nothing other than, I appreciate all the updates they gave us and all this information. I did have one question for Adam. Those bags that you're making, that is for dementia. In the future, going forward, do we anticipate maybe one for mental health or aging in general, retirement, things of those kind of topics?
I think so. With these, what we're hoping to get is some feedback from the community, what else they might be interested in. We're always open to providing whatever service we can to better serve the community. So mental health is definitely something that people are concerned about our community. So it's something we'd have to discuss it, but something we definitely look towards.
Alcoholism, something like that, that maybe students, if they're dealing with it in their home, would maybe
We actually
become more
just-
aware of
we just met
resources.
with the health department yesterday. They wanted to kind of work with us on being a resource for information about substance abuse
Yeah.
and
Great.
things like that at all ages. This, it affects so many people. So
Yes.
we're going to start actually having programs, discussions, and different resources for people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good, and I'll just jump in there real quick. The health department is finally coming out of the COVID protocols. Finally, they've been most restrictive there as of all the agencies that we partnered with heavily before for 2020, and so it's good to see them coming out because they have a number of programs. We've partnered with them in the past, and I think they have several newer ones. And I'm sure that when we reach out to them about mental health and some other things, but substance abuse, they have things for smoking cessation, diabetes, all of those sorts of things that we've done in those years and months leading up to 2020 that we'd like to see them bringing back because that's a really good partnership for us.
Great, thanks. Okay. Yeah.
Nothing, thank you.
Carol?
I think those packets would make a great television spot. If you can get one of the TV stations to come up and check it out, literally.
Elaine, do you have anything?
Welcome back, everybody.
No, thank you. And I'd like to say on behalf of myself that I'm glad to see everybody back and that we're back to work. And there's a lot going on at the library. Thank everybody for their presentation. And we have a lot of work to do now with the new guidelines and things that we're going to update with the orientation and anything else that pops up in the next couple of months over the summer. But it sounds like you've done an awful lot of work on the summer program, and it sounds really good. And I love the idea of the Beanstalk. That's just an amazing program. So thank you all for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Is that it? Okay, so I guess I'll ask for a motion to, let me announce the next meeting's June 28th, right here at 8 a.m. And can I have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.